Dawn of Majesty sucks my balls. What is up, L's and G's? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, I've got another discussion video, and this one is about what I just said a couple seconds ago. This set sucks. Now, I want to go ahead and make sure that we understand where I'm coming from here. We have exactly 40 cards revealed for this set, which means we are going to get another 40 cards in the next month-ish, probably, to finish the other half. And that doesn't even include the TCG exclusives, so we'll even throw those out for the time being. Just talking about the actual 80 card base of this set, it's really rough so far. I hadn't realized it because sometimes, because Konami spaces out the way they reveal cards, you get one card here, two cards here, one card here, one card here, and you don't realize, but I had been going for a couple weeks now going meh, meh. And then I looked back and I was like, wow, the whole fucking set is meh. So today we're going to talk about Dawn of Majesty, where it's at, why it sucks, what it needs to round out, because I'm not saying that this is impossible at being a good set. I just think they really need to round it out nicely, because maybe they've gone with a new strategy where they're going to reveal some of the weaker cards in the set first, and then they reveal the bangers late into it as we get closer and closer to the set actually coming out, and that's when they raise the hype level so much more for the player base. We'll see though. So first things first, I think we need to start off with what the set actually has. Let's run through that real quick, just so everybody knows where I'm coming from. I divide everything up into 4 categories as far as core sets go. You've got the new archetypes. You've got bigger supports. So when they give more than 2 cards to an archetype, I call that bigger support. They kind of went a little bit above and beyond there. And then you have the little supports. So 1 or 2 cards for archetypes. Those are just one-off, easy do's. Throw it to an archetype that the Konami does a lot of in these core sets. And the last thing is generic bangers. Just great generic cards that work for a myriad of different strategies. So we're going to start off with the new archetypes. We have 2 so far to speak of, first of which is the Magic Keys. It's based around this vanilla monster. It seems to want to do some synchro summoning and a ritual summoning, but the deck doesn't really seem to do much so far. Now, I have seen some stuff online of oh, it could work potentially nicely with Drytron, and it does have some synergy with other just ritual decks in general. And might have some synergy with something like World Chalice. We'll have to see on that, but I really don't think this archetype has much going on so far, and we'll probably get more stuff in the next core set. But as far as this core set goes, this archetype is cool, potential to combine with other archetypes for cool things, but right now not doing much for anybody. But the design is great. Then we have the Sue ships, and this is a 100% meme strategy. That's really what this seems to be. I don't really see this doing anything else. It's just kind of meme. You love it, it's funny, it's awesome. I love the artwork, but I really think this is no more than a casual deck at best. There, so boom, right out the gate, first 2 archetypes. One is interesting with somewhat future potential, and one is just a meme archetype. So meh. I'm really not about it. There's no Dogmatica here. There's no big archetype that we're yeah, this is going to be the next meta deck. No Virtual World, no Dogmatica, none of that stuff, right? So that's your archetypes. Then we go to the big supports. There's only 2 archetypes we've seen so far here. The first is Stardust, and this is cool, but I want to just make note that this is on the same level for me as when we got the Gaia the Fierce Knight support in Rise of the Duelist. Not good by any means, doesn't make the deck good, but it's cool because it's Gaia the Fierce Knight and he's getting his own archetype. That's great. And we see the same thing here. Maybe 1 or 2 of these cards might be played in other strategies, but other than that, I don't really see it. So meh, right? Meh. Same thing with Armed Dragon, kind of same vibe there. And then we have the Gizmecs. We got 5 new Gizmek cards. Half of them are really bad. Some of them are okay. The problem with Gizmecs is you're what do Gizmecs want to do? Because they can't abuse Exceed summoning because they're all different levels. They can't really synchro because none of them are tuners. So what do you do with Gizmecs? Now they do have some cool cards. I think the Frog and the Boar are actually decent. The field spell's decent, and the bird is okay. The rabbit's horrible. That card's unusable. I guess it summons something from hand, but that's so meh in 2020. But okay, they're fine. They don't really do anything though, because Gizmex can't really be their own strategy. But a lot of these cards are only really useful in a deck that's kind of like, you know, specifically just Gizmex forward. So I don't know. I don't really see it here. I think they're cool. I just don't really see it like rounding out into a full-on archetype here. Then we get to the little supports. We have 2 cards for amazements. The trap is awful. The monster's actually pretty decent though. Lets you swap for traps, and it can summon itself from hand just by revealing an amazement trap or an attraction trap. So fine. 1800 body, fine, decent for them. We have 2 alien cards. I actually think the generic link is pretty cool. We'll talk about that later. And the monster is actually decent for aliens, but again, it's aliens. Aliens is no more than a casual deck. This is just something cool for a casual deck. Next up, we have Mystical Beast of the Forest. This guy, he got revealed today, actually, and he's not very good. So again, another whiff on an already casual archetype. Bummer. Triamid Loading. Actually a pretty good Triamid card, but again, it's Triamid, casual. That is a casual deck. Gemini's. Cool card for them. Casual. Spirits. Must I say it, this is a casual deck. None of these decks are even like rogue decks, so it's not even, it has like almost no legitimacy competitively like any of these support cards, and I think that's pretty important. And the last card, well, I guess the last thing is generic bangers. Vulnerage. Yeah, so this guy's just like a rank 7, and I think if he has, let's see, if it has a dragon monster as material, he's a quick effect to just kind of Dryden something. So fine, a Dryden that could be a rank 7, you just have to have a dragon material. Okay. And one more thing I want to talk about real quick, because I want to come back to this guy as a generic banger. I actually think this card's kind of insane. It takes any 2 reptiles, so it's actually generic for like reptile decks. We have like Abyss coming out, so maybe there's something here with that. But it essentially gives you the ability to almost just like do a similar lock to the Buster Blader lock. Like you swap all your opponent's monsters to defense mode and negate their effects, which is really cool. And this card gives you an additional normal summon for a reptile. I actually think this isn't a bad card at all. So I'll be curious to see where this goes. It's just a generic reptile card, so I'll throw it in generic banger. But it's a loose one because it's reptiles, right? And that's it. That's really all we have. That is everything that really matters out of the 40 cards. There's like 10 other cards that are just like random baloney garbo cards that like, those are just filler cards. They're not good competitively. They're not even good, like cool casual cards. They're just like, why are these printed? And so that leaves me wondering, where the fuck is this set going? Why is this set here? The next thing we need to look at, knowing what the set has, is what is the set missing? To my standards, the set is missing a legitimate archetype. I think Majesty has potential, but not even that much potential. It needs some banging ass cards in the next set to really, you know, be something interesting. So we don't have anything that's really a legitimate new archetype that's going to get people really, really excited. And Suships is a meme deck. Support that actually matters, big and little. As much as some of these cards are good, I think the Triamid card is a great Triamid card, but it's Triamids. These are all like casual decks aside from maybe Amazement, because it might be combined with other like trap decks and be like a cool like trap engine. And so I think Delia and maybe the fact that blah blah blah, where is he at? This guy is generic. The fact that like this guy's generic and Delia is for Amazement, they're pretty cool. And then everything else, you literally go down the line. Aliens, Mystical Beasts, Triamids, Gemini, Spirits, Stardust, and Gizmex. Gizmex might have a little bit of potential in there, but that's like it. All this support is like casual decks. And I really think that takes away from the you know, the larger group of what your you know, your fan base is really wanting. And so that's like the big thing there. And number 3 is generic bangers. I mean, I say generic bangers. I don't think this card's a banger. It's an okay generic card. Some strategies somewhere down the line probably will be able to use it fairly well. And same thing with the alien link for reptiles at some point. Maybe it's Abyss, maybe it's something else down the line. I don't know. Again, maybe it'll get used, but there's these chances it won't get used. So I don't know. So not very good there. You're literally missing like the 3 big things that like make a core set good. And so hopefully we get that down the line. It's just not enough. I really hope everything rounds out. I hope that when we look at this set real quick, like you see that there's like a big kind of gap here. This is probably like 2 different archetypes. It might be 1 more new archetype with 3 or 4 monsters, and then maybe support for an archetype where they'll get 4 or 5 cards, kind of like the Gizmex did, kind of like the Stardust did. Maybe they'll get 2-3 monsters and then 1 or 2 spells and traps, maybe an extra monster, I don't know. So there's definitely some room here. You have some other monsters. These are 2 next to each other. This could easily be 2 from the same archetype, and then you have much more monsters down the line. But usually when you get down the line, they become more filler cards. But we'll see. They could be one-off, like really good cards for archetypes. You never know. And then you get to like some of the like extra deck cards. These are most likely rituals and or fusion monsters, so there's some room there. That's pretty cool. This is most likely fusion and or synchro. Some more synchros or exceeds. This is confirmed to be an exceed. This could be an exceed or a link. And then you have more stuff down here that could easily be like 4 more link monsters. So we have a ton of room here for like banger cards, right? There's always room for banger cards because they can just off the cuff reveal another triple tactic talents S card, Book of Eclipse or Lunar Eclipse S card, Forbidden Droplets S card. They can always just drop those, right? So those are super easy, but what I worry about the most is like archetypes. And then support. Support is not just 1 or 2 cards that come out and I'm like, oh cool, that's support. You need to have like 5 to 10 and maybe do it for multiple different archetypes where you're just like, that's awesome, that's awesome, that's awesome, that's awesome. And that's why I like Lightning Overdrive so much. It's because a lot of archetypes I like and I like are already like rogue-ish are getting support that can potentially allow them to compete even more with like the competitive scene. So that's what I want to see rounding out the rest of this set. Obviously there's more stuff down here. 4 free trap cards, bunch of cards here, bunch of spell slots that can definitely fill in and be something really powerful. We just have to wait and see. So long story short, hopefully Konami just rounds the fuck out of this set with nothing but good stuff, and it's awesome. So we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep you posted, but let me know your thoughts down below on this set as we go forward. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe if you haven't. Get the fuck out of here. Peace.